Welcome back to Weekend Express. We're having a conversation on the maternity leave and paternity leave. And we're asking you, do you think Kenya should adopt the 5 months maternity and 6 weeks paternity? I beg your pardon. We're asking you, do you think Kenya should adopt 5 months maternity and 6 weeks paternity leave? Some of your response are already coming in. Abdi Isak is saying 5 months paid maternity leave is insane and unsustainable in 47 million and growing population, but other optional support is needed for working moms. Brief Scope is saying our economy simply can't afford these things. We're not collecting sufficient tax revenues to cover the spending we're imposing on our economy. Remember, our phone lines are open and our Twitter conversation is still going on. But first, let's take a call, who is David from Kasarani. Good morning. Talk to us.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine.
I'm very happy to be part of this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. Continue, David.
Yes. Now, I wanted to just contribute something and say that in our nation today, it's important that we take family as a very important part in our society. And one of the reasons that sometimes, people are not able to give good output in their jobs. It's because there's a lot of pressure in families. There's a lot of issues that are happening around, and we need to start coming together as people who employ, and take care of people who want to work at job areas, and at the same time they have families, and give them an opportunity to work soberly and also take care of their families properly. And for this reason, I'm just so happy that I can see a panel that, talks positively about family and wants the best for them. I want to kindly request that it is important that we extend, maternity and paternity leave so that we have people, when care of their families and they are happy and they go to their job areas, they are good, they are sober, they are able to give a lot to the society because first the family is okay.
All right. Thank you very much, David from Kasarani. Now, let's go to our next caller, who is John from Kisumu. John, good morning. What do you have to say?
What I'm saying?
Yes.
Before maternity leave was increased to 3 months with full pay. You remember it was less than 3 months earlier on.
Yes.
But in the new law, it is 3 months with full pay maternity leave. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking that was enough because it would be uneconomical for both parties, the employee and the employer. Why I'm saying so is that, you see, a lady who has given birth to a baby, she will stay at home for 6 months. This lady may be conceived again when she's on maternity leave. Which means she'll continue to be on maternity leave. And will not be viable for her to retain her job. So it is better for us to retain what is in the Employment Act, which is 3 months with full pay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, John from Kisumu. Next is Maureen Akinyi from Kisumu. Maureen, good morning. Talk to us.
Morning.
Yes.
I just wanted to narrate my story.
Yes.
My baby is 4 months old, but I work in Fair County.
Yes.
But I had a problem when I had some challenges when I was pregnant. I had so many episodes of admission. Hello?
Yes, Maureen, we're listening.
I had so many episodes of admission, so I could not go to work. The doctor demanded so that I can be on a bed rest. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening, Maureen.
So those admissions made my employer to give me a transfer.
Yes.
When I was 2 months to the time I was to deliver. So it has really given me challenges.
Yes.
So I was asking, in that situation, where you are being given a transfer to go somewhere else in a new environment, and they know your situation, you have a stress, how can you handle it?
Okay. Thank you, Maureen, for joining the conversation. And finally, we have Emmanuel from Embakasi. Emmanuel, good morning. Talk to us. Emmanuel, can you hear me?
Good morning.
Morning. Talk to us.
Okay, I'm Emmanuel.
Yes.
Yes. Good morning, too.
Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning.
Yes. Tell us.
Okay, I'm here by Good morning.
Good morning, Emmanuel. We can hear you. Please continue. Yes.
Oh. Yes, I'm here.
Emmanuel, if you can reduce the volume on your TV so that you can talk to us.
Okay.
Okay, talk to us, Emmanuel.
Yes.
Yes, you were saying? All right, we'll be getting back to that. But these are some of the issues that are being raised. Of course, Maureen saying she was given a transfer. How can we handle such issues?
First of all, I'm really saddened.
Yes.
And my assumption here is that that organization has a HR professional that is licensed and to practice HR in a humane way, because that's where it starts. That's what our work is about.
Yeah.
First of all, you cannot transfer a woman on maternity in her 3rd trimester to a new place of work, because what that means is that she's starting all over again. And nobody wants to receive somebody who's about to go on maternity leave as soon as they got in. There is a big problem in that and the way that situation was handled. Again, like I said, a mother like Maureen would not even have a say. She doesn't want to lose her job, as you rightly would understand.
Yeah.
She had been admitted severally because of her situation, and that is where humanness is supposed to come in. After all, when she was being admitted in hospital, sick leave is what should have taken care of that. So nobody should actually make it look like she has used maternity leave in a situation like that. But definitely as a matter of best practice, and even from a legal perspective, if one was looking at that issue, she shouldn't have been transferred to a new place of work 2 months to her maternity leave. It is punitive, whichever way we are looking at it. It is as if she's being punished for being pregnant, as if she's being punished because she kept being away from work because of her condition and her situation. I'm not in any way saying that she could have sought a different way of handling it. She could have still put it across and say, I'm not able to. Is it possible until I am able, to give birth, and then I can consider moving to a new place because of so much adjustment needed.
Yes.
I think that she would have needed to go back to her HR professional and explain her situation and ask for a different alternative to handle that situation.
I think the problem here is most people are not aware of what they can do in such scenarios. So as an HR professional, how can you guide them?
I am going to look to the screen and ask HR practitioners out there, please, let us make workplaces humane. Whatever decision we make, what our employees are going through, it's our responsibility to ensure that that environment is providing for that. Why would Maureen be transferred to a new place of work or a new workstation 2 months to her delivery? We need to think about how we practice in our workplaces.
Okay. So, Fred, I'm going to come to you. David from Kasarani raised issues to deal with cost. Leave alone the productivity levels, leave alone the stress that you're facing home, and even the cost of having a new baby or a newborn, a new member of the family into your house. How did this affect you personally?
One of the things that we did as a family, and this was way before the baby came, is we started very consciously putting plans aside of a new person joining the home. And it is something I think families need to take very seriously, I sometimes equate it to, and I know some people will not find this okay, but equating it to getting married. You don't decide you're getting married today and get married tomorrow. There's a lot of planning and thought process to that. And so the same way, I would relate that to the babies, the same way I'm going to say it is important to start thinking about the process, even right from the time you realize, oh, we are pregnant. I know that's a term ladies hate hearing the guys say, but we say that. We are pregnant in the house. And so 9 months, I think, is very sufficient time. Or even 8 or 7, depending on the time you realize it, to start very consciously saving up some money, putting something on the side, start buying things like the baby coat, whatever level you can get to, at least try and start doing that, so that by the time the baby comes in, the issue is not, can I afford a diaper, but the issue is, will the house help be available? You know, with the house will be available being an issue, together with diapers and milk, the stress levels can really get you to a place of some even quitting their homes. I have friends who, for one reason or another, just left the baby because the pressure was too much. Okay. And when you trace down the issues, you start realizing, oh, it was not necessarily that they had issues with the lady, but it's issues financial. You're looking at the baby growing up, you can't even afford clothes for them, you can't afford just very basic needs. So I would insist on guys probably just taking a step back. I know it's an exciting time. You're telling people, you're telling your family members, you're thinking of how to be a father and a mother and all of that. But take a conscious decision to just plan financially, especially. Because this is a human being that you bring in, that from where I come from, God has blessed you with to take care of. It is not something to just be sitting there and looking at going, you may eat today or you may not eat. Yes. that is an issue. Yeah. So just take time out and plan for them way in advance, so that by the time it gets there, the stress level is not financial, but it's something different. Okay.
Yes. Dorcas, Fred talked about one important thing, the issue of households. We've seen various companies like Safaricom have daycares in the institution. Do you think this is something that can be adopted across the nation?
Thank you, Carol. When I was listening to Carol. This is Ashley, speaking about the house help, and I was thinking, in a situation we are faced with, perhaps if we had commercially run daycare centers that have security that is guaranteed and I can go pick my child and take them home, then that would be great. That's what happens in developed countries. We are not yet there. There are a few, but they would always not be in your neighborhood. Coming to companies like Safaricom that have a daycare center, well-run, supportive to their employees. Now, Safaricom, even when you look at their turnover, you cannot generalize that to the population in this country. Yes. So again, we are going to generalize something that is not going to be affordable in this country and that cannot work. But before we get to daycare centers, there are things that are basic that do not need any complex calculations to put in place. For example, Pastor here, they have a child who is about 3 months old. Yes. Can somebody allow him perhaps 2 or 3 days a week to just work from home and be with the baby? That does not need a lot of money to deal with. Yes. Can Carol be allowed to at least work for 5 hours in a day for a year, until the baby is a year? That does not require much. Because you'll be amazed that sometimes if we were to measure productivity, actually as it should be, you would find that Carol would come to work and do work for about 3 days in just 5 hours and go home to take care of a baby. Yes. We have not done simple, basic things that allow the environment to be easy for mothers and new fathers before we jump into big daycare centers that are more expensive, because we have a lot of SMEs in this country now. That is where we had about 70+%, yes, plus or minus. SMEs are already trying to get their space in this country. One, where this country is right now, businesses are operating at a very high costs, and some are even folding, tend to leaving this country alone, and we all are aware of that. When we come up with like 5 months maternity and 6 weeks paternity leave, are we going to afford? But I think there's also good news. I think the bill proposed about this same case is that it's optional. It's optional for you to take the additional 3 months without pay. And if a parent determines that way, that in itself is a good proposal, so that the business does not feel that they are being given a higher cost to bear for an employee who's not at work for a period of 6 months. So again, when we look at it in itself, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But can we also allow this mother perhaps to come in at 9, having woken up the baby, breastfeed them, and they see they are okay, then they come to work? Small little flexibilities that we need to put in place that do not cost much, that make it easier. Can we make the environment a happy environment? Oh, good morning, how are you? How is the baby today? Oh, baby is good. If the same mother just got in at 9, at 9:40 she gets a call, the baby's not well, and she runs back. Don't make it look like you just came in. Those are the small little things that we need to put in place to make it a human workplace, and everybody will work well, and everybody will move forward well. That's how I look at it.
Before we get into the issue of the sustaining the 6 months and the 6 weeks and the 5 months, Carol, please tell us, you are a mother of 2. Is there any right time to take maternity?
Is any right time?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Many people say they would take their maternity before, others after.
No, you know, the law defines that, actually.
Yes.
The law defines when a mother should actually, I think you should take 6 weeks prior if you wish. But most of them, what they do, they decide to go until last minute almost, because they want to have longer time at home. Otherwise, the law allows for prior and then after. Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with her in terms of it depends on, there's some, like for my first child, I think I took 1 week early, but because it's also, I was not too sure, I did not want stress around the last week of giving birth. So I took a week early and gave birth, I think, the following week. But I remember saying, I wish I took now this other week when I'm giving birth instead. But hey, it's fine. And then there are others, I mean, for the second child, because it was an elective, I knew that I was going to, I mean, I just took a few days before. But I think it's, like I said, every pregnancy is different. Every mother experiences something different. So I wouldn't fault a mother who decides to even take 1 month before. Maybe she's too tired. But I always think it's better if you take it after, because I think the work comes in after birth, raising that child. That's where the bulk of the workload is. But I also agree with Dorcas in terms of, fine, even if we do not extend maternity leave, which I understand could of course have issues or economic non-benefits, if I could say, or risks. I think the other thing is making that whole conducive. And one of the no-cost effective ways is, even if you're an SME, create a small room. You know, there are so many offices I know that have this one office or one place that is not used, and they just use it as a store. So, for example, the organization I work for, there's one lady who had done a lot of research, because we're a research organization, and she saw the benefits of having workplace support for mothers. And so she really pushed it that our organization does this research, why don't we start off by doing that? And I think that really helped me. The fact that I had this secluded room that was sanitary and clean, and there was a freezer. So after I pump, I can just put it, store it, so that by the time I'm going home, I don't have to worry of, oh God, the shelf life is gone. So it's these small things. Even if you're an SME, find a space that mothers can easily express, and just a small, tiny fridge won't cost you anything. Just those small things, so that as much as this mother who's come back from work after 3 months, as much as the stress levels are, the flexibility and the place to be able to express safely and comfortably, instead of in a store or in a bathroom, would really, really help.
Okay, Fred, your final comments, even as we wind up. What do you think is the way forward? What can be done to help the situation?
I will echo what David, the first caller, what he said. And if you look at our country right now, we are in such a confused sort of space, and a lot of it has to do with the initial family unit, and it is not a thing that is taken seriously, and especially maybe in our government, and it is something probably not even taken that seriously. We take it seriously in church, but not to the level that we're supposed to. And so this, I believe, is a step in the right direction, where we are trying to bring a lot of sanity to the family unit.
Yes.
Where we are reminding the parents that they are not robots. These are human beings. And to have these human beings have somebody else to take care of is quite a task. And so to give them more time, to give them the space to take care of that, to give them the space to just bring a bit of sanity again to this new unit is something that we need to look after.
All right, thank you for joining me. That was Fred Oyola, who is a pastor at Nairobi Chapel in South Sea. Next to him is Carl Gatura, who is also into communications and a blogger about motherhood. And to my immediate left is Dr. Swanaina, who is the executive director of the Institute of Human Resource Management. So this is just some of the things that are being expressed. These issues can go on for long. The conversation can go on. Of course, don't forget to continue the conversation online. We are asking you, do you think Kenya should adopt 5 months maternity and 6 weeks of paternity leave? Michelle, so this is what is happening. What do you think?
Interesting conversation, actually. I've been following up on social media and on our Twitter poll this morning, asking whether we should adopt a 5 months maternity or 6 weeks paternity leave. 77% of our viewers are in agreement, saying yes, we should, but 23% are not in agreement. We have, well, who is this? Abdul Kadir here saying, why can't they stay at home for good and then earn this money as ghost workers? Dennis Nyaga says this will be unfair to employers. But we'll be following this conversation a bit more on what you're saying on social media. For now, however, let's cross over live to Eldoret and take a look at some live pictures. Preparations, they're ongoing for the burial ceremony of the late Eldoret Catholic Bishop Cornelius Korir. Let's speak to our Elvis Koskei, who also joins us by way of phone. Elvis, talk to us about this preparation.